Hello, today we would be starting first chapter of economics for class ninth, and the name of the chapter is The Story of Village Palampur. In this chapter, we are going to study about a village whose name is Palampur. This is not an original village, it is an hypothetical village, and we would be studying about different conditions which are present in the villages. First of all, we are going to study about the main activity which is in Palampur. Like any other village in India, in Palampur also the main activity is farming. The farming is the main activity in a village which is performed by the people, and along with farming, some of the non-farming activities are also undertaken by the people. And these non-farming activities are small scale manufacturing, dairy farming, transportation. All these activities are also undertaken. Palampur is well connected to the neighboring villages and towns. For example, you have a big village called Raiganj, which is 3 kilometers away from Palampur. At the same time, you are having a Shahpur, a small town whose name is Shahpur, which is also well connected to Palampur. Different transportation system can be seen on the roads of Palampur. Example, you can see bullock carts, tangas, motorcycles, trucks, jeeps and tractors. All these means of transportation can be seen. This is because Palampur is connected to big villages and towns with the help of a better transportation system. A well developed road system is there, and pakka roads are there, all weather roads are there. So it is well connected to the nearby towns and cities. Now the population of the village. In a village there are 450 families. Out of these 450 families, 80 families they are upper caste. 80 families are upper caste. They have big houses, and the houses are normally made of brick and cement. Means they live in pakka houses. The scheduled caste, that is the Dalits. The scheduled caste, that is the Dalits, they consist of one third of the total population. The Dalits or the scheduled caste, they consisted of one third of the total population, and they live in one corner of the village. And normally they have small houses, and their house is made of mud and straw. And most of the house in Palampur, they have electric connection. Palampur also has two primary schools and one high school. At the same time, there is a primary health center which is run by the government, and one private dispensary. And in this dispensary and in the primary health center, the sick people are treated. So this is all about Palampur. This is an overview of the village Palampur. So what is the overview of the village Palampur? The overview is that Palampur is a hypothetical village, and the main activity is farming. Along with farming, other non-farming activities are also undertaken, and Palampur is well connected to the nearby towns and villages, and all weather roads run in Palampur, and different modes of transportation can be seen. There are about 450 families in Palampur, and 80 families are upper caste families, and they has majority of the land, and they live in pakka houses. Houses are normally big, whereas one third of the people are Dalits. They belong to the scheduled caste, and they live in one part of the village, and their houses are small, and they are normally kacha houses. uh, but all the houses have, most of the houses they are having electric connections. And in Palampur there is a facility of education also. because two primary schools and one high school is there, and there is also a facility of health care because a primary healthcare center is also there. Along with primary healthcare center which is run by the government, there is one private dispensary also, and in this the sick people they are treated. So it has developed transportation system, it has education system, it has a it has the health system also. So this is the overview of the chapter. Now let us discuss the first topic in a chapter, and the topic is the organization of production or the factors of production. Organization of production or the factors of production. Now production means producing goods and services. It means producing goods with the help of raw materials. Now when you are producing goods with the help of raw materials, you are creating utility and value. By creating utility and value, production is done. And the main aim of producing goods and services, main aim of production is to produce goods and services. So why do we do production? So that we can produce goods and services and we can satisfy our needs. So production means with the help of raw materials, we are producing goods and services so that the needs of the people can be satisfied. This is called production. Now what are the factors of production? Now factors of production are four. It is land, it is labor, capital and human capital. Land, labor, human capital, human capital. These are the four factors of production. We are calling it as land, we call it as labor, we call it as an human capital, we are calling it as enterprise. All these are the factors of production. Let us discuss these factors of production one by one. First of all is land. Land is a basic natural resource which is required as an input for the production of goods and services. It is fixed factor of production. Land is the factor of production which is required to produce other goods and services. Land is the fixed factor of production. Number two, you have labor. It means physical and mental effort put in by human beings in the process of production. Means human beings, they are putting their physical effort and they are putting their mental effort. Both the physical and the mental effort which is put by human beings in the process of production, this is called labor. Number three, you have capital. Now capital can be of two types. One is fixed capital and other is the working capital. Now what is physical capital? Various inputs which are required at every stage of production. Various inputs which are required at every stage of production, this is called capital. Means in order to produce goods, you need tools, machine, building, raw material, money in hand. All these are physical capital. Means all the raw materials which are required to produce goods and services are called capital. Now physical capital can be of two types. One is the fixed capital, other is the working capital. Now how we are defining this fixed capital? That part of physical capital which is used in the production process for many years. It means that part of the physical capital which is used in the production process for many years. Once you have purchased it, you can take its use, you can take its utility for large number of years. Example, tools, machines, building, etc. Take an example of a tractor. If a farmer has purchased a tractor, he can use tractor in the agricultural activity for many years. Therefore, tractor is a fixed capital. Clear? So, fixed capital is that part of physical capital which is used in the production process for many years. And what about the working capital? That part of the physical capital which is used up in the process of production. Used up in the process of production means that once you have used this capital, that capital is no more available with you. If you want to use it again, you have to acquire it again from somewhere else. Let us take an example. Example is money in hand and raw materials. Suppose farmers are having seeds and the farmer has sown the seed in the ground. And again, if the farmer want to do production, farmer has to acquire the seeds again from somewhere else. This is the working capital. Working capital is that part of physical capital which is used up in the process of production. Means once you have used it, it is no longer available with you. In our example, the farmer have used that wheat, that seeds, because the farmer has used those seeds in order to grow wheat. Farmers were not having the seed again. If again production has to be done, such seeds has to be acquired by the farmer from somebody else. Same is the case for a money. You have used money in the production process, then you have to acquire money from somebody else to be used it again. So fixed capital and the working capital are different from each other. The difference lies in their uses. Fixed capital can be used for a longer period of time, again and again, whereas working capital cannot be used again and again. It is used only once in the production process. The fourth factor of production is human capital. Human capital means knowledge or enterprise. Human capital is knowledge, human capital is enterprise, and this knowledge and enterprise means human capital is required to put together all the other factors of production. You are having land, you have labor, you have capital. If you don't have human capital, you are unable to utilize these things. So human capital means knowledge, human capital means enterprise. And what is this human capital doing? Human capital is utilizing the first three factors of production in order to get the things produced. So it is organizing, it is managing the three factors of production so that production can be done in a better way. So these are the factors of production. The question will be, what is production? What is the main aim of production? And next, explain the four factors of production. So this is an explanation of the four factors of production. Then you have the first. Let us discuss these factors of production one by one. First of all is farming in Pallampur. The heading is farming in Pallampur, and under farming in Pallampur we would be doing point number 1, and this point number 1 is land is fixed. We know that in Pallampur farming is the main activity and farming has to be done on land, but land is fixed in Pallampur. 75% of the people are dependent on farming. 75% of the people are dependent on farming. Means large number of people, they are involved in farming activities. The supply of land is fixed and the measurement of land is done in hectare. Hectare is the standard unit of measuring land. Hectare is the standard unit of measuring land, and this standard unit of measuring land is hectare, and the measurement of land is done in hectare. 1 hectare is equals to 10,000 meters square. This is a unit. 1 hectare is equals to 10,000 units square, or you can define hectare as 1 hectare equals to the area of a square whose side is 100 meters. Imagine a square. A square is having a side 100 meter. What will the area of this square? Area of the square will be side into side. Now because area of the square is side into side, so 100 meter into 100 meter is equals to 10,000 meters square. Therefore 1 hectare is equals to 10,000 meters square. Along with the standard units, some of the local units are also used, and these local unit is Bigha, B-I-G-H-A, Bigha, and Guntha, G-U-I-N-T-H-A, Bigha and Guntha. It is the local units for the measurement of land. Now let us discuss the second point in the farming in Pallampur. Second is Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Means, we have studied the land is fixed. Now the question is, can we grow more crops from a same piece of land? The supply of land is fixed, and 75% of the population they are involved in farming. Can we grow more from the same piece of land? Our answer is yes, we can grow from the same piece of land. So what are the methods we can use? So we can use two methods. One is the multiple cropping, other is the modern farming methods. Let us discuss first the multiple cropping. Multiple cropping means to grow more than one crop in a year from the same piece of land. Growing more than one crop in a year from the same piece of land is called multiple cropping. Examples: during rainy season, farmers they are growing jowar and bajra. During winter season, farmers they are growing potatoes and wheat. So you can say farmers are growing more than one wheat, more than one crop in a year, and this is called multiple cropping. Farmer they are growing more than one crop in a year, and this is called multiple cropping. When we are growing more crops in a year, and multiple cropping takes place, and in this way the production can increase. Other way in which production can increase is to use modern farming methods. Modern farming methods include Green Revolution. Green Revolution was the program that was started by the government to increase the productivity of food grains, especially wheat and rice. The program started in 1960s and 1970s in order to increase the productivity of food grains, especially wheat and rice. This is called Green Revolution. Green Revolution has helped in order to increase the productivity of crops. Now, second is use of HYV seeds. HYV seeds means high yielding varieties of seeds. High, 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 yielding, YIELDING, yielding variety, VARIETIES, varieties of seeds. These were the special seeds that were designed under Green Revolution. Now, these seeds does more production, these seeds does more production from the same piece of land. The yield per hectare is more when we use these seeds, HYV seeds. The HYV seeds require more water, so all the states were not benefited. It was the states of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh were benefited because these states have best or good irrigation system. Because these states were having good irrigation system, that is why the states of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh they were benefited. But with the help of HYV seeds, more crops can be grown from the same piece of land. And third point is use of insecticides and pesticides. When we are using insecticides and pesticides, we are protecting our crops from getting damaged. So insecticide and pesticide can also help in increasing production from the same piece of land. Similarly, we can use tractors and harvesters, modern machinery. This modern machinery, when we are using it, more production can be done from the same piece of land by saving the times of the farmer. At last, we can use chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers can be used, and this chemical fertilizers can boost the production. It can increase the production. It can help the crops to grow in a faster way. So there is a method to grow more crops from the same piece of land. Method is, first is multiple cropping, other is the modern farming methods. Under modern farming methods, we have to include Green Revolution, we have to use HYV seeds, we have to use insecticides and pesticides, we have to use modern methods, modern machineries such as tractors and harvesters, and we have to use chemical fertilizers. Now the question will arise that we are using more and more fertilizers, we are using more and more chemical fertilizers, we are using more and more insecticides and pesticides. So all these things we are using in large numbers. We are using underground water more and more to grow crops. Question arises, will the land sustain? Will the land sustain means कि after using so much fertilizers, will the fertility of the land be the same as it was before? Answer is no. The fertility of the land will not be the same. The fertility of the land will decrease. So one of the disadvantages of green revolution was the loss of fertility of the soil. So green revolution has resulted in the loss of the fertility of the soil because the use of chemical fertilizers has resulted in the reduction in fertility. We are using more and more HYV seeds, and HYV seeds requires more and more water, so we are extracting underground water. The result is underground water table is also decreasing, so the land will not sustain. If we want to grow more and more crops from the same piece of land, the fertility of the land will decrease, as it was seen in the case of Palampur, and it is seen in the case of India in many villages, that the fertility of the soil decreases with the use of chemical fertilizers, and water level also started decreasing. Let us discuss the last topic of this slide, of this video. This is the video 1, and in this video 1 we would be discussing this last slide, and the next chapter we would be covering in the second video. How is land distributed between the farmers in Palampur? In Palampur, how is the land distributed? Now let us discuss the distribution of land. The first of all, land is unequally distributed in Palampur. Land is unequally distributed means all of the farmers in Palampur, they don't have the same quantity of land. So let us discuss this. Total population of Palampur is 450. Okay, total population of Palampur is 450. Out of that 450 farmers, 1/3 families are landless. Landless means they are not having their own land. They are dependent on other farmers. They are dependent on farmers having land. So 150 families are landless. So how is this 150 families? 1/3 of total population. 1/3 of total population means 1/3 of 450 means 150 families are landless. They are not having their own land. Most of them are Dalits, and they have no land for cultivation. Then other 240 families, they cultivate small plots of land. 240 families are there. They are small farmers. They have small plots of land, and the size of the land is less than 2 hectares. So there are 240 families who are having less land, and the size of the land is less than 2 hectares. So these are small farmers. 60 families are medium farmers and large farmers. 60 families in Palampur, they are medium farmers and they are large farmers, and they cultivated more than 2 hectares of land. They are cultivating more than 2 hectares of land. Out of these 60 families, some of them are medium farmers and some of them large farmers. There are few large farmers. Out of these 60 families, there are few large farmers who have more than 10 hectares of land. So we have 3 categories. We have landless laborers, landless farmers who don't have any land of their own. They are dependent on other farmers' land. These are 150 families. Then you have 240 families who are having less than 2 hectares of land. They are small farmers. 60 families are medium farmers and large farmers. These medium farmers and large farmers are divided into 2 categories. First, those who are having land between 2 hectares to 10 hectares. And there are some large farmers out of those 60 families who are having land of more than 10 hectares. So this is about the distribution of land. This is about the distribution of land in Palampur. So up till here, in our video 1, we have covered the overview of the village. We have covered the factors of production, and we have covered the supply of land is fixed. Then we have discussed a question that is there a way one can grow more from the same piece of land, and then we have discussed the topic number 3. The topic number 3 was, will the land sustain, and the fourth topic we have discussed is the distribution of land. How is the land distributed between the farmers in Palampur? So in the next video we would be covering the remaining part of the chapter. Thank you.